Right, okay. This is a story called Sam the Bellhop, and he likes to play cards at this club called the 654 Club. So, one time when Sam was in the hotel, he got a job there, and these 4 people come in, and they were dressed up as kings. And they thought they were big shots and stuff like that. So Sam was like, oh, stay at their way, I'll just talk to them and that. So, comes back 3 minutes later, in the king's cell, do you think you can find us some women to pass the time? And Sam looks at his watch, and he goes, oh, it's only 2:30, so I'll have a look. 3 minutes later, and he says, well gentlemen, I managed to find 2 brunettes and 2 redheads. And he says, well that's great Sam, where did you find them? And he says, remember I told you about that club, the 654 Club? And he says, well that's great Sam, thanks for that. There's a £2 tip. So Sam goes for a walk, and he comes back 1, 2, 3 minutes later, and he says, we're all wanting to play a wee betting game, but we need more people. Do you think you can try and find us more people? And he goes for a walk, and he says, I'll see what I can do boys. And he goes 1, 2, 3 minutes later, and he says, I managed to find 4 people who are willing to play, called Jack, Jimmy, James and Jason. And he says, well that's great Sam, where did you find them? Remember that club I told you, the 654 Club? Oh aye, that's right. And he says, that's great. And then he says, well there's another £2 tip, and Sam goes, that's much appreciated, and he goes for an hour walk, 1, 2, 3. And then after that, all the boys and the girls, and they say, oh we're all wanting to bet, but we've only got £40 between us. So, do you think you can try and cash them for 2 20s? And say, look, I'll see what I can do. It's still quite early, so he goes for a walk. 1, 2, 3 minutes. And then he goes, oh, I managed to get you 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 10s, is that alright? And he says, yeah, that's great. And then he says, well, I only need the 38. There's another £2 tip. And he says, well, that's great. And then he goes, oh, Sam, you're quite a young boy, aren't you? What age are you? And I'm going to take a guess. Are you 38? And he goes, no, I'm actually 39. And then he says, oh, where do you live, Jack? What's your address? And he says, well, I've just recently moved house. This is my address. It's kind of hard to remember. I stay at 1329 West 8th Street, so it's pretty hard to remember. And he says, do you gamble a lot? And he says, yeah, I gamble at this place. And he says, what was it called again? And he says, the 654 Club. It's quite easy to remember. So then he says, what was the best hand you ever seen? Well, he says, there was this lassie, and she had 3 7s and a pair of 8s. And I thought, oh, that was a pretty good hand. And then when the person dealt me cards, Sam the Bellhop, he said, I had 3 aces and a pair of 9s, and I thought that was a good hand, I'm bound to win, but every time when I go, there's this person called Michael, and he's a magician, and he always seems to win, because he always seems to have a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7, which is a royal flush, and spades. And that's Sam the Bellhop.